Google, which of course is really principally an internet search company. Online advertising, though, is where the money comes from. As people type in terms, particularly in America, like insurance or car purchases and so on, it's all the stuff that comes up and people pay for. But of course, it's got a whole slew of other things going on. It's got Android, it's got YouTube, it's got Gmail, etc., etc. Very strong margins, really a computing giant at a global level, all sorts of server centers all around the world. Company market capitalization, $512.89 billion. So you can see it sagged back compared to the 585 of Apple. PE of 31.47, so that's a proper one. And NUX, no dividends. They've never paid dividends.
No, these guys think that they could probably use that money better to fuel development and do their own thing.
Giving it to the poor old shareholders.
No, I mean, the only reason why a company pays out dividends, okay, there's a couple of reasons. One of them is you want to keep shareholders happy by being consistent in the amount of money that you pay out to them. And the second is that you're kind of nervous about the fact that you don't really know what to do with all that cash.
Yeah.
So you give it to shareholders to kind of choose what they want to do with all that cash.
So there are two things I want to ask you about Google. Why is it called Alphabet? So just explain that sort of thing, because Alphabet, I know it was to sort out the secondary investments.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about the other issue. I'll answer that one first. Your sense, I mean, there are two classes of shares. That's another complication.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest, the whole two classes of shares thing is still a bit of a confusing thing to me as well.
It's kind of pointless. You're not the only one.
Yeah.
They split it about 6 months ago, and they basically did it, I think, because they figured they wanted Alphabet to be the holding company, Google the search engine, and then these other moonshots, right? And what are the moonshots? Driverless cars and that kind of rubbish.
And glucose measuring, contact lenses, and
anti-aging technologies
There's
and
lots
things.
of weird stuff in there. The driverless car is probably the most exciting one.
Everyone likes to talk about that.
It did drive into a bus the other day, though, so still a long way off. But
people liked the restructuring. It actually went up when that happened because people liked the idea that the company would then be forced to disclose how much money they were spending on those moonshots, and it would discipline the management team. And I think that has been somewhat the case.
Yeah, absolutely. And the capital allocation is a little bit easier. It's a little bit easier to recruit good talent. There's a lot of reasons why they did it, but it makes a lot of sense because you don't want your excellent, like, stunning company, Google, with YouTube and the search function and everything else in it, to kind of get mixed up with your random investments.
Share price chart. Now that just shows you after the split. So, you know, it did have a prior history and it did very well, but it's continued to bounce around. It had a nice step in the middle of 2015 when the new CFO, Ruth Porat, came to the helm, and they clarified a whole lot of things about the business model. But just to talk about the core search business, that means that, you know, there are businesses all around the world which used to advertise in their local press and so on. They don't do that anymore. All they do is they put their page up on Google, and when the search comes from a particular area, so like if you're searching for, I don't know, window glass or tires, then it's what comes up there. People pay money for that, and that money is just like a gusher from all these different sources into the core business.
Absolutely, and these guys aren't only winning ad share or ad gains from traditional media sources like newspapers and magazines. They also have YouTube stealing market share from television.
Exactly, which of course is a source of advertising revenue because people like to do those little viral ads at the front.
Absolutely.
Okay, but now the share price has been quite sharp and quite strong. It's on a high price to earnings ratio. What's your sense? Hot or not?
We as a house still like the story. There is still a lot of growth left in mobile ad revenue and in ad revenue in general on these non-traditional kind of platforms. And then you have these bets which are now being almost they're almost being cordoned off, and more time and energy can be spent on it, and more specialization, and there might be something really amazing coming out of there.
So even if it's just another leg like Gmail or like YouTube for the company in time to prosper and grow with.
And the thing with a tech company is you're looking at an infinite number of years of high growth, or a large number of years of high growth. So a PE doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah. Okay, good. So we're going hot on Google.